So as we know, one of the major factors of production is this idea of efficiency. So efficiency is a secondary factor of production that the government has tried to improve over the years, and they've used different supply side policies in order to improve our productive efficiency so that we're utilizing resources to a greater extent. So what we're going to focus on in this video is to distinguish between the different types of efficiency that the government tries to improve. So we're going to look at, firstly, this idea of allocative efficiency. Now, allocative efficiency is a relatively simple concept. It means that we are utilizing our resources to their most productive use. And as the word allocative suggests, it means that we are allocating resources to their most productive use. And at this point, we know that from our studies of microeconomics, we are most comparatively advantaged. So what this suggests is that we have a comparative cost advantage over other countries, and therefore this area of production is best to maximize our living standard. So what the government has tried to do using supply side policies is to redirect resources into these areas of comparative cost advantage so that we are producing what we are producing at the minimum opportunity cost. So that's the first type of efficiency, is this idea of allocative efficiency. Secondly, we have technical efficiency, which is also known as productive efficiency. And this is the productive efficiency. And this is the type of efficiency that you should be most familiar about because it relates to outputs over inputs. So technical efficiency is calculated by output over input. So we want as many output here as possible from as few inputs as we can. And so this is about businesses discovering the least cost method of production so that their inputs are relatively low, whereas their outputs are relatively high. So this entails employing the best practices available for production, and this relates to utilizing capital and utilizing the most skilled of workers. Thirdly, we have what is known as dynamic efficiency. And dynamic efficiency involves firms being able to adapt to prevailing economic situations. So being able to adapt. So take for the example that a firm is fully entrenched in the business on, say, phones. And over time, we discovered that touch phones, such as the iPhone, have become more popular. However, this company was not able to adapt to the changing tastes of consumers, and they still produce flip phones, although at a very, very high quality. But because consumers have changed their taste or fashion senses, that means that they no longer need, say, flip phones, but they would rather purchase, say, touch phones such as the iPhone. So this company would then not be able to survive in the prevailing economic landscape or climate because they are unable to adapt or unable to allocate their resources to what the prevailing consumer demand is. So this entails employees to be able to develop new skills and creativity, to think outside of the box so that they appeal to changing or even new fashions and tastes. So that's dynamic efficiency, is that businesses are able to reallocate their resources or able to adapt their resources in order to respond to changing economic circumstances. So that is dynamic efficiency. And lastly, we're going to look at, just going to put them up here, is this idea of intertemporal efficiency. And this is what environmental policy looks at most strongly, because intertemporal efficiency means that we ensure there is enough natural resources for future generations. So we talked about the government goal of strong and sustainable growth, and we talked about how having strong growth may compromise the sustainability of that growth, and that's where intertemporal efficiency comes in. Intertemporal efficiency ensures or tries to ensure that there is a suitable balance between resources being allocated towards uses now and resources being allocated to productive uses in the future, so that we don't deplete our natural resources currently in order to satisfy demand now, but we ensure that there are enough resources for future generations to survive off. And environmental policy, as we shall look at later on, will target this idea of intertemporal efficiency, so that we do preserve our non-renewable resources, especially, so that future generations are able to use it as well. So they're the 4 types of efficiency that businesses try to improve, and supply side policies such as environmental policy, macroeconomic reforms, immigration policy, and the supply side aspects of budgetary policy can help improve either allocative, technical, dynamic, or intertemporal efficiency.